on the news. CBN to freeze bank accounts without BVN, NIN starting April 2024. Federal government to begin new minimum wage by April 1st, 2024. Military helicopter crash lands in Port Harcourt. Senate asks federal government to block statutory allocations to non-elected local government councils. Gunmen attack Kogi resident electoral commissioner in Lokoja. New Zealand to ban cell phones in schools. Gaza death mounts as Israel resumes bombardment. Onana among Premier League best goalkeepers, Eric Ten Hag boasts. Now the news in full. I am Arakunrin Sheyi. Welcome back to the news on Arakunrin Sheyi podcast. Kindly follow our podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and AudioMac at Arakunrin Sheyi podcast, and also follow us on all social media accounts: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. Thank you. The Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) says it will freeze accounts without a bank verification number (BVN) or National Identification Number (NIN) from April 2024. This is according to a Friday circular by the Apex Bank, which instructed banks to place a post-no debit restriction which prevents customers from making withdrawals, transfers, or any other debits for all existing Tier 1 accounts/wallets without BVN or NIN. Effective immediately, any unfunded account/wallet shall be placed on post-no debit or credit until the new process is satisfied. Effective March 1st, 2024, all funded accounts or wallets shall be placed on post-no debit or credit and no further transactions permitted. The circular by the CBN Director of Payment System Management Department, Chibuzo Efobi, and the Director of Financial Policy and Regulation Department, Haruna Mustafa, read part. It also said all BVN or NIN attached to accounts/wallets must be electronically revalidated by January 31st, 2024. Federal government to begin minimum wage by April 1st, 2024. The federal government has said the new minimum wage regime would come into effect on April 1st, 2024. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Idris Mohammed, who disclosed this in an interview in Abuja, said the current 30,000 naira minimum wage would expire at the end of March 2024. Following the removal of the fuel subsidy by President Bola Tinubu on May 29, 2023, the federal government agreed to pay 35,000 naira to each of its workers to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. But the organized labor insisted that the 35,000 naira wage award was a temporary measure, adding that the minimum wage should be reviewed in 2024. The federal government's team and the Joint National Public Service Negotiating Council on October 18, 2019 agreed on the implementation of the 30,000 naira minimum wage after months of negotiations. However, labor unions yesterday confirmed that they had started the negotiation process with the federal government, adding that based on the country's labor law, the minimum wage should be reviewed every 5 years. Military helicopter crash lands in Port Harcourt. A Nigerian Air Force helicopter on Friday crash-landed and exploded at the Nigerian Air Force Base in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Though what led to the crash could not be immediately ascertained, it was learned that the incident occurred around 7:50 a.m. Confirming the crash in a statement, the NAF Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, said the NAF MI-35P has taken off to embark on an operation against oil thieves in Rivers State. He added that 5 persons on board survived with minor injuries. He said the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, is on his way to the scene to assess the situation. Senate asks federal government to block statutory allocations to non-elected local government councils. The Nigerian Senate has urged the federal government to withhold statutory allocations to local government councils that are not democratically elected. The Red Chamber unanimously resolved that this move would deter the dictatorial tendencies of some state governors. This resolution comes against the backdrop of a motion moved by Senator Abba Moro on the urgent need to halt the erosion of democracy vis-à-vis the dissolution of elected councils in Benue State. Lawmakers argued that the placement of caretaker committees to replace elected councils is an aberration, undemocratic, and a breach of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. Senator Victor Ume, representing Anambra Senatorial District, who seconded the motion, lamented that the issue has continued to undermine the local government system in Nigeria. Gunmen attack Kogi wreck in Lokoja. Gunmen have attacked the residents of the Resident Electoral Commission and REC of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Lokoja, the Kogi state capital. Chief Press Secretary to the INEC chairman, Mr. Rotimi Oyekomi, disclosed this in a statement on Friday. He said the REC, Dr. Ale Longpit, was ill and earthy as the security personnel attached to him were able to hold off the attackers before reinforcement. Some protesters branded in Social Democratic Party SDP shirts had on Wednesday besieged the INEC office in Lokoja, claiming that the commission was working with the state government to tamper with election materials. One of them, who identified himself as Danjuma, said that they were sure the materials at the INEC office had been compromised by the APC, vowing that those who stole the people's mandate must not live to enjoy it. The Lagos State Chairman of the National Union of Road Transport Workers (NURTW), Mr. Musili Akinsanya, popularly known as MC Oluomo, has been re-elected for a second term in office. Mr. Akinsanya was re-elected unopposed at the 10th Quadrennial State Delegate Conference held at the State Union Secretariat in Agege, Lagos State. Despite the leadership tussle at the national level of the NURTW, the union has decided to go ahead with each state to elect leaders that govern them for the next tenure. Welcome to Global News. New Zealand to ban cell phones in schools. Cell phones will be banned in schools across New Zealand, Conservative Prime Minister Christopher Luxon said on Friday, as his pledging government looks to turn around the country's plummeting literacy rate. New Zealand schools once boasted some of the world's best literacy scores, but levels of reading and writing have declined to the point that some researchers fear there is a classroom crisis. Luxon declared he would ban phones at schools within his first 100 days in office, adopting a policy trialed with mixed results in the United States, United Kingdom, and France. The move would stop disruptive behavior and help students focus, Luxon said. Gaza death toll mounts as Israel resumes bombardment. Israel resumed its deadly bombardment of Gaza on Friday, saying it struck more than 200 targets in the densely inhabited Palestinian territory, despite international calls for a renewed truce. The Hamas-run health ministry said that at least 109 people had been killed in Gaza since the pause in hostilities expired in the morning and ground battles and Israel airstrikes resumed. Israel alleged that Hamas had attempted to break the truce even before it ended at 0500 GMT by firing a rocket, and that it had failed to produce a list of hostages that could have been released on Friday in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. But both the United Nations chief and the White House called for the break in fighting to be restored, and US agencies warned of a catastrophic humanitarian situation as bombs fell and hospitals again struggled to cope with the wounded after a week-long respite. We continue to work with Israel, Egypt and Qatar on efforts to extend humanitarian pause in Gaza, a White House National Security Council spokesperson said after U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken left Israel following diplomatic efforts to shore up the troops. Welcome to Sport Update. Onana among Premier League's best goalkeepers, Erik ten Hag boasts. Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag has bragged about goalkeeper Andre Onana, ranking him as the second best goalkeeper in the English Premier League this season. The Dutch gaffer layered his claim on statistics and the Cameroonian's performance since joining the club in the summer. Onana came under fresh scrutiny after another all-out-reading display in Wednesday's 3-3 draw with Galatasaray left United on the brink of Champions League exit. Ten Hag, however, leapt to the defense of his number one ahead of Saturday's trip to Newcastle. If you analyze it well, you will see he is the second best goalkeeper in the Premier League based on statistics. Ten Hag said his expected preventing goals is second best in the Premier League. He is doing well. He knows that in the Champions League he has made some mistakes, but overall in the first 5 months he has done well. Onana currently ranks second in the Premier League for saves, save percentage and goals prevented, but 8th, 27th and 31st for those same respective metrics in the Champions League per The Telegraph. Ten Hag was pleased with the way Onana reacted against Burnley just days after gifting Bayern Munich a goal in United's 4-3 defeat in Germany in September, and expects his goalkeeper to respond against Newcastle. Asked about Onana's confidence, Ten Hag said, "You know also, because you have seen how he's reacting to a bad performance, like after Munich at Burnley, he was outstanding. He's a strong character, he's a personality and he will deal with it." Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti has compared his surprise at the form of Jude Bellingham to the impact that Kaká had on him when the Brazilian arrived at Milan. Bellingham has scored 15 goals and given 4 assists so far in just 16 games. More than that, he always appears to show up whenever Real Madrid needs something. There was serious concern for Bellingham after he left training with an apparent muscle problem on Friday after just 10 minutes. However, Ancelotti has told the media that Bellingham would be fit to face Granada and that it was just tiredness. Ancelotti was asked whether he has asked Bellingham to be their main goal scorer this season. "No, I don't think we have ever asked Bellingham to score goals. He's doing it because he has this fantastic ability to reach the opponent's area at the right time. The respect we have for him is for the work he does, not for the goals." And it's a wrap on the news tonight. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to follow our podcast on Amazon Music, Google Podcast, and AudioMac. Thank you for listening. Good evening.